How's it going, my friend? So let's just continue with the Kenneth Minogue book. Honestly, maybe I should read Historias del Cronen really fast in this week, and then I'll switch back to the Minogue politics, and then finish, and then go back to Rebel the Way. But we'll see how it goes. I'll try my best, guys, to get everything done. So let's just see how it goes. So chapter by chapter breakdown. This is Christianity and the Rise of the Individual. So I felt that previous two chapters were quote unquote more beefy, like there was more going on. Well, here, like it seems like the book starts losing thickness. I guess there's less content as you go through the chapters, and then you get to chapter 5, the modern state, and the 6th one as well, how to analyze it, and it just becomes everything about like Minogue's theories and ideas, as opposed to a historical content like in the Greek and Roman chapters. So I felt this chapter it was good as well, but it was the last chapter in that historical focus. So this chapter is more about the Germanic tribes and how they invaded and took over the Roman Empire, which was already in decline anyway. So civic order came out of violence and brutality. Germanic tribes expanded from Sweden, so most of them came from Scandinavia and settled in Britain, Germany, and then even Spain. Like there was like one group. I don't think it's the Visigoths, but there was definitely a group that settled there. And afterwards, Germanic tribes settled in Central Europe and converted to Christianity. And Charlemagne, like he might have converted and became the king of France. But don't quote me on that, guys, because I know Clover was also a king of France. They might be the same person, but don't quote me on that, because like Minogue doesn't go into details. You know, when I study French history, I'll tell you guys exactly what's going on, what's up with that. So Germanic tribes were always fighting wars against each other. That's what like a lot of people have been saying. Like Germanic tribes seem just really violent. Like some right-wing thinkers later about like Teutonic like battles and stuff like that. Like this is England was conquered by Anglo-Saxons, then Danes attacked, and then the Normans took over. The law was seen as untouched by human will, and evolution from tribe leaders to masters of realms. So pretty much what happened, Germanic tribes took over, and they just became tribe leaders, and then try to like expanded their reign and became masters of realms, and they saw the law as very, I don't want to say absolute, but it seems like, I don't think that's what they're trying to say. I think what they said is that law was seen as independent from human will. So they weren't making laws at first. It seems that due to Europe's weather, a central power is not needed in contrast to China and India. So, like, respect for China and India. Sometimes I feel Minogue has a very, I don't even want to say Western, but I guess Anglo sort of sensibility, where he'll say, well, what about those Oriental people? Like, they don't have what we have, you know? So I kind of like sense that out of him, even though I know he's not trying to say that, but like what he's saying as well is the weather in Europe doesn't need like large irrigation and large centralized power, so there's like small kingdoms, and we see that with the Holy Roman Empire. And like every, like what was Germany was actually like different small groups of people. So he's saying dukes were very important in ruling, and they were independent trading cities at the beginning of the nation. So the concept of nation state wasn't developed at first, but it was slowly developed as time goes on. Right, guys, so the Treaty of Verdun divided the realm of Charlemagne into 3 parts: France, Deutschland, and the Netherlands, and Italy. So there was this third kingdom, so La France, Deutschland, and the third kingdom, which was like either Netherlands and Italy. Like it wasn't that well defined. He said that like that third kingdom. And I would like to delve more in European history later, but he just kind of goes through it fast. And then Minogue brings the idea that France has like the legal institutions and consultative institutions. And again, guys, he hasn't. I feel like now that I'm going through this, like Minogue pretty much is just doing overviews. Like he isn't like centering on things. He's just giving you guys like sketches of what's going on. So rights were given to the nobility and rich people, and then passed down to the common people. And for people like saying, "Oh, the Pope reference," right? And maybe I'll call it Britpop, but honestly, we'll see. Like maybe I'll do like a Britpop song. But anyway, guys, what's going on is like what he's saying is the nobility had the rights, and then rich people got them, and then later, much later, common people got them, like the right to vote. But don't quote me on that common people could vote at that time, because in the Roman times they couldn't. So he's just saying that whatever right the nobility had, much later that same right was given to common people. The king had that cooperation from his partners to rule. This included nobles, powerful church members, and towns and representatives. So also, when he mentions Christianity, it seems like Greeks and Romans didn't have a distinction between church and state. So people just saw the state as having links with their religion, or not really, because Greeks were really smart, actually. Like now that I'm looking back, I realize Greeks were, and I know some Greek people in real life, but it's like, both are cool, you know, like, but it seems ancient Greeks were like really smart people who had all these ideas about society. So it seems like they didn't even need religion to justify their theories. Sometimes they'll just say like, whoa, it's the right thing to do, like through rationality. So what he's saying is that like once Christianity took over, like there came like a very important distinction between the state and the church, and then the church started having power, and the church started making laws as well. Like it was part of the balance of power. So the king had cooperation from all these different groups, and what he's saying is the balance of power. The king wasn't an autocrat, you know, or like in the so quote unquote Oriental world, or where like the king just rules by caprice. I like that expression, but it seems like the king always had to consult with different groups like nobles, church members, town representative. It was a balance of power. So Greeks and Romans had a civic religion that focused on rationality and serving the republic. I feel this was mainly Greeks, and Romans had a bit, honestly Romans as well, now that I think about it, because like Greeks were more theoretical, but Romans, I feel like they didn't make that much distinction between their family and their state. So definitely it seemed like serving their state was really important. You could be born a Roman, but you needed to become a Christian. So this is a very interesting distinction that Minogue touches on. So what he's saying is that you are given Roman citizen just by birthright. By Christianity as a religion is something you have to be taught, something you have to assimilate into, and it just isn't something like that easy. So he stresses the need for education, and I think in Latin as well, there's definitely a language connection where noble people learn Latin and then learn Christianity in more depth, and then that's what we see in the Protestantism emphasis on just translating the Bible and sharing it with everyone. And I disagree a lot with Protestantism, but this is not the place to talk about that. But however, you get the idea, you know, like I feel, at least based on what I'm reading, it seems there's a distinction between Minogue's state and what he's arguing for, of what it means to be part of a religion. Which the religion just becomes a source of power as part of the balance of power. And Christianity focused on education and literacy. We already touched on that. Christianity affirmed the equality of each human soul. So it seems like, and this is like Nietzsche's idea when he described it, or he's one of the people who, and Hegel might have touched on this as well, but it's the idea that it seems Greeks and Romans follow master morality, where they're noble virtues, and Christianity followed slave morality, where being humble, it's seen as good, and he said like poor people are closer to God, and all these sort of ideas, which actually, like, I think Catholicism like quote unquote, I guess I'm a cultural Catholic, but like, it's the idea that Catholicism praises meekness and humility, and then this transfer to Protestantism that they highlights modesty to an extreme, in my opinion. But regardless of that, what Christianity is saying that all human souls are equal. Well, Greeks and Romans might not have had that conception. Like, they might have seen that, and Germanic tribes didn't either. They might have seen like people as expendable, and I think Germanic tribes even had more of this, And so what he's saying is Christianity, or at least Catholicism, because that was Christianity at the time, said that individuals had to respond to sin. How do they respond to sin and wrestle with that idea? And Christianity is a religion that contributes to the notion of human rights. If it was just Greek and Romans, there wouldn't be a human rights. Because, guys, remember, like, I think Aristotle and... guys, we're back. So remember Aristotle and other Romans, other Greeks were saying, well, it's just logical that slaves are inferior, so they need a master to be ruled. And it seems Romans wanted to spread their civilization by saw everybody outside of it as barbarians, and they didn't see equality, while Christianity affirms the idea of human rights. Like, every soul, every person, every individual has rights regardless of their beliefs. And then he goes on the alliance of power between sacred power and monarchical power. And so sacred power was the church, and it had an influence in society, and then monarchical power was monarchs, which also had an influence. So the church turned sacred into a post of social bond. I'm actually not sure exactly what this means. I guess if we contrast to Greeks and Romans, like, maybe they saw religion more as a social thing, but I'm not there yet to like comment on that. The Pope controlled the affairs of the state, and this is interesting, like, how much power did the Pope had, but it seems that Pope was seen as a legitimate power within society, which it's interesting because religion, I guess during the Middle Ages, religion played much more of a role. Well, during the, like, a previous decade, not decade, but like during the eras of Greek and Roman rule, like, religion wasn't seen that way. So it's fascinating to me because it seems religion wasn't as powerful during Greek and Roman times. So balance of power was kings, nobles, and church. Then I did some vocabulary. So feudal, specific type of order emerging out of violence. Medieval, what educated man used to call the 2000 stretch, the stretch between the classical period to the Renaissance. Realm is a kingdom. What is king's peace? Still I don't know. Magnates. It's a powerful person, property owner. Exigencies require immediate action. Religion, what society believes is the point of being alive. Christianity redeem humble people. Like I said, guys, Nietzsche and Machiavelli disagree with this view. Piety, devotion, and reverence could be slavish. So, exactly. But honestly, I don't think piety is wrong. I think modesty is wrong. So they started introduced after Germanic tribes converted. They started introduce dioceses of province controlled by a priest. That might be a Latin word, by the way. Yeah, as I said, why were Germanic tribes pushed westward? And this happened as well during the Han invasion of the what is now Russia. Like, why were Germanic tribes like pushed away? And that's very interesting, and I'll explore later. Alright guys, so we're running out of time, but it's a fun chapter, definitely. Like, less content than the previous one, but I'll see you later. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care, guys.